In this video, we will learn how a great end-to-end self-guided visitor journey looks like at a tourist destination so that you can design it for your visitors with the help of SmartGuide. We will get inspired by best practice examples from other destinations to make it tangible. Now let's focus on the experience from the visitor's point of view. In subsequent video manuals, we will explain all the details on how to build each ingredient of such an experience. The visitor journey starts already when travelers plan the trip and they like to know what guided or self-guided options you offer. Travelers often plan on the web. With the advanced web widget, they can get an interactive preview of your guide on your own website. They can seamlessly transition into the app with the same content, adding functions that are handy on the go, such as geolocation, audio, or offline. In case your destination's character requires to download the guide for offline use, for example due to poor mobile data coverage, the more visitors download the guide already at home, the less load for your staff and Wi-Fi in tourist information centers. We can also provide you with professional designs of materials to use on your social media, and distribute as leaflets or posters in tourism information offices and hotels nearby. Once visitors arrive at your tourism information center, a visible poster or roll-up with a QR code can help them discover self-guided options even if the staff is busy talking to other guests. The visitor-facing staff should be well familiar with the guide options, so they should always be asked to try a SmartGuide tour. Destinations use SmartGuide tours also to onboard their new or seasonal staff, and making the guide part of the onboarding is key to ensure the know-how is sustained even as staff rotates. When they are familiar with the guide, they will be able to recommend to visitors what is best for them. For example, if you provide SmartGuide in foreign languages, it is good to always recommend the guide when foreigners come in. This is also a great opportunity to sell your SmartGuided tours if you decide to do so. One of the best places to communicate your digital guide on maps. Both the maps you hand out to visitors in Information Center, tier maps often available in hotels, but also large outdoor maps. Visitors often like the familiar feeling of a large paper map where they can get oriented, and then have QR code to open SmartGuide digital map that adds the blue dot, navigation and guide content that does not fit on the printed map. For a seamless experience, it is crucial to align the content. All places or tours listed on the paper map should be with consistent names, images, or numbers also in SmartGuide. Our analytics shows that visitors often come to tourism information offices when they are closed. While live guides need to rest, your SmartGuide never sleeps. Place a sticker or a poster on the door of the tourism information office to provide your guests with information and guidance even when the tourism information office closes. You might have noticed that each collateral only has a single QR code. SmartGuide uses smart QR codes that automatically open the right content in the app. It will automatically do so in the visitor's preferred language based on their phone settings, amongst languages you provide. If they don't have SmartGuide installed yet, the same QR code will first determine whether they have Android or iOS, take them through the installation, and then open the right content. So all you need is on QR code on each collateral, but we can provide you with different QR code for each collateral type so that you can track the sources and analytics. Visitors can use SmartGuide like a traditional audio guide in their own language on their own phone and explore the destination by themselves. The SmartGuide app uses the GPS location to help visitors get oriented on a map and shows them places that are nearby. They can freely walk around your destination at their own pace, avoiding crowds, and have relevant information always at their fingertips. The guide indicates clearly the top sites no first-time visitor wants to miss. It is just important to link the places correctly in the content management system to places on the map to get priorities. Besides top sites, you should include some different gems and practical places like toilets, authentic restaurants, and other relevant places. Write concise, engaging content. Don't be too formal. Visitors appreciate if you guide them as you would guide a friend. And it goes without saying that you should use attractive photos. Having a guide in their native language can make a huge difference in the experience for international visitors. Once you fine-tune your guide in one language, you can easily add translations. If the budget for human translations is limited, we can also translate all content including audio in 30 languages using AI very inexpensively, allowing you to broaden the language offering. So even if you don't provide guide services in Portuguese, Polish or Chinese, visitors speaking these languages will get a machine translation including audio in their preferred language. This can be a game changer in catering to these audiences who find it more difficult to find information when traveling. An AI translation may not be perfect, but it is perfectly accepted by international visitors in online channels as long as it is clearly indicated as an AI translation, and it can also help you with search engine optimization to attract more visitors from these audiences. Always make sure to proofread the AI translation outcome and fix errors in pronunciation. SmartGuide also provides visitors personalized recommendations based on their interests. This all happens automatically. SmartGuide AI understands what your content is about, and from the user interactions with the app understands their interests and then matches the less known places with these interests. So the more places and more diverse content you provide, the more can SmartGuide help you disperse the crowds. Our analytics can also help you understand the gaps in your content coverage compared to visitor interests. About half of the visitors usually like to take a recommended tour that will introduce the destination as if they walked with a live guide. A tour usually connects 5 to 20 places of interest with a recommended route. In destinations, most tours are walking, but you can do also driving tours, bike tours, accessible tours, and other types. There should always be a mainstream introduction tour for a typical first-time visitor. It usually starts at the tourism office or the main point of interest, and takes tourists all the must-see places and gives them a good overview of the destination. To engage all visitors, make them stay longer and come back, besides the introductory tour, provide also tours for different audiences. For example, a different tour for children and adults, an accessible tour, or a detailed tour for history geeks. From the tour name and introduction, the visitor should be able to understand which tour is best for them. As visitors walk through the destinations, they get notified when they approach a point of interest. If they are on a tour, an audio playback will start automatically just as if you were walking with a live guide. For this to work like magic, it is important to set correctly the area called trigger zone for each place. When the phone detects that user entered the trigger zone based on their geolocation, the content will launch. By default, trigger zones are circles around the place. But for many places in crowded areas, this is not optimal, and you can define any trigger zones using polygons. GPS is very accurate on good phones with an unobstructed view of the sky, but the accuracy can go down on cheaper phones or when the sky is blocked by buildings or rocks, or if a user moves fast, so it is important to consider an appropriate buffer. If the poi is a small statue in a park, you probably want to trigger the story in a radius of about 20 meters around the statue, which is the default setting if you don't change anything. But for example, a 20 meters circle around the center of the Eiffel Tower, which has a base of 125 meters, would only trigger when the user arrives at the top. It is visible from far away, so you can probably go with a 200 meters radius or even more to include it in a guide. If you want to be even more precise and launch the story only when a tourist arrives, say from the Seine River, you can move the center of the trigger zone or make a trigger zone in the shape of a polygon. While you can edit trigger zones by yourself in the CMS, our content team has lots of experience to set it up correctly for you. For users who skipped the tourist information office or did not allow GPS location and notifications, it is important to provide an alternative way to launch the correct content. The best way is placing QR codes for the digital guide on the information signs at points of interest. Each place has a unique QR code, so the appropriate content will open upon scanning. You don't want to have physical information boards in 10 languages to avoid visual congestion, but you can easily have digital guide in 10 languages. So put printed information in 1 or 2 languages and then indicated that other languages are available upon scanning the QR code. Whether the visitors take a recommended tour or wander around the destination as they like, they will get notified when they arrive near a place of interest. Users who don't provide the app with notification permissions can scan a QR code at signs informing about individual places of interest, and the content for the specific place will open to avoid confusing visitors. It's important to have consistent naming, numbering, and content in online and offline materials, as well as with physical marking system. But one thing to keep in mind is that it must be absolutely clear to visitors what happens if they scan the QR code. There should be clear indication that it opens an audio guide in an app in some language. We can see in analytics that a standalone QR code does not work. We are happy to provide you with templates. The stories about places should be the best from local guides, explaining what makes the place interesting. It should be engaging and fun, not a boring history lesson. All content is also available as audio, which is more enjoyable for users than reading texts. Instead of staring at a screen, they can listen and look around the place. The Sternberg Castle, for example, replaced paper guides that tourists did not read much with SmartGuide, and they were impressed to find that all of a sudden, visitors consumed 80% of the content. It was the same content that was available on paper that only few read. Human audio full of emotion is best, but AI audio also became okay. If you don't provide human audios, SmartGuide automatically records all guide texts as audio using the latest text-to-speech technology. Such TTS audio is very good for regular text, but often makes mistakes in pronunciation of local names or acronyms. No worried, with just a little bit of budget, our team can teach AI to pronounce these correctly too, and you can easily edit texts anytime, and this correct pronunciation will stay. When a visitor is done visiting a place on a tour, they are informed where to go next and can also navigate easily on the interactive map that displays the tour route and their location. While walking to the next place, you can give them some more background information. Prague digitized paper guides on SmartGuide and inspired app users to spend 30% of their time outside of the crowded city center by telling them interesting stories about less visited places. This is the key to sustainable tourism. Prague digitized paper guides on SmartGuide and inspired app users to spend 30% of their time outside of the crowded city center by telling them interesting stories about less visited places. This is the key to sustainable tourism. SmartGuide collects detailed data on how users are acquired, how they consume the content, where they go and what they miss, so we can provide you with fact-based insights on how to make the experience even better. The more tourists use the guide, the better insights you will get from the big data analytics. And if this level of insight is not enough, we can also send users a custom survey. The description of your landmarks can stay the same for years. But visitors also like to be informed about the events taking place in the destination. With SmartGuide, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can simply embed any responsive web page inside the app. A typical use case is a calendar of events that you maintain up to date on your web, but it can include a quiz, booking site, or a webcam. Please just note that the website should be optimized for such views so that it is pure content without many other distracting elements, such as web headers, navigation, or menus. To really immerse visitors, places can also include augmented reality experiences. AR can bring historical places and events to life, let visitors virtually interact with objects they could not touch, and just have lots of fun. SmartGuide offers the most flexible content architecture on the market that provides each tourism organization with a space to promote their area and creates a seamless experience for a traveler. So for example, within Spain is Andalusia region, within that is Malaga destination. The English cemetery is a place within Malaga with a short poi description. When we visit it, We can double-click to explore and get a detailed tour of the cemetery with its own places of interest, such as the gatehouse or tombstones of famous people. Invite regional tourism boards and local attractions to participate and all benefit from a single technology, plus you can get better data and more users. We hope that your visitors had a great experience exploring your destination with SmartGuide. If yes, SmartGuide encourages them to share the tour or any place with their friends easily with one button. And if there is a space for improvement, we encourage visitors to suggest an improvement that we can either resolve directly or share back to you. We hope this will be useful when you plan to design an awesome self-guided experience at your destination and you are ready to learn how to do it in the subsequent videos. Once you are done building your guide, please test the visitor experience yourself with your colleagues to make sure it presents your destination in the best possible way. For a perfect experience, SmartGuide experts can also do a quick remote or a full on-site implementation visit to help you identify gaps to best practice and most importantly how to close them.